you made it to the end of another day. Maybe not every battle was won. Maybe some were lost. Maybe you smiled in front of others, but cried behind closed doors. Maybe your heart feels heavier than your body. And maybe, right now, as you sit in silence, you're wondering, God, do you see me? If you're emotionally tired, not just physically worn out, but deeply drained in your soul, this devotion is for you. This is not a motivational speech. It's not a checklist or a lecture. This is a quiet space, a sacred space, where you and God can breathe together. Because you don't always need advice. Sometimes you just need someone to sit beside your sadness and whisper, "You're not alone." Every night, countless people go to bed with emotional weight they've carried all day. Maybe you're grieving something no one else knows. Maybe you're battling anxiety or fighting the silence after someone walked away. Maybe you feel like you've been strong for too long and you don't know how to be anything else. Here's the truth. You don't have to be strong right now. You don't have to have it all together before you pray. You don't need perfect words. You don't need the right posture. You don't even need to speak aloud. You just need to be here. Inhale slowly, exhale the tension. Let this be your refuge. Let this devotion be the gentle hand of God touching your weary soul. Over the next few minutes, or hours if you need them, we'll walk through 10 devotions together. Each one is a whisper, a candle in the night, a prayer to help you rest. And each one begins with this reminder. God is not waiting for you to impress him. He's just waiting for you to be with him. So lay down the weight. Let your tears fall if they need to. Let your heart be held. This is your time to surrender the day. This is your time to let grace in. Because even if your world feels dark, even if your mind is loud, even if your heart is aching, there is peace, there is presence, there is God here with you, right now. Are you ready? Let's begin. Part 1, lay it down, giving God what you can't carry anymore. Coming up next. Part 1, lay it down, giving God what you can't carry anymore. There comes a point where your soul simply says, I can't hold this anymore. Maybe you've reached that point tonight. Maybe you've been carrying burdens that were never yours to begin with. Maybe you've been strong for too long, for others, for yourself, for the world. And your arms are trembling under the invisible weight. And now, as the night falls and silence settles in, your spirit whispers, God, I don't want to carry this anymore. You were never meant to. The pressure to hold everything together, your family, your job, your emotions, your image, is a weight that crushes quietly. And because it doesn't scream, you keep carrying it. You smile when people ask how you're doing. You say, I'm fine, when your heart is begging for someone to see the truth. But God sees. And he doesn't just see, he invites. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. This is not just a poetic promise. It's a divine exchange. He's not asking you to fix it. He's asking you to hand it over. Close your eyes for a moment. What have you been carrying that's too heavy? A mistake from your past? A relationship that drained you? A failure that keeps replaying in your mind? The overwhelming pressure to be okay when you're not? Whatever it is, lay it down. Not in anger, not in guilt,
but in honesty. Say it out loud if you want. God, I can't do this anymore. Not as a confession of defeat, but as an act of surrender. Because true strength is not how much more you can carry, it's knowing when to stop carrying it alone. Lay it down. Lay down the fear that paralyzes you. Lay down the anxiety that robs your sleep. Lay down the pressure to be perfect. Lay down the guilt that doesn't belong to you. Lay down the silence that's been screaming inside you. You don't need the words. Sometimes tears are enough. Sometimes silence is the purest prayer. God isn't waiting for you to sound holy. He's waiting for you to be honest. And when you lay it down, let Him take it. Don't pick it back up in your mind 10 minutes later. Don't lay it at His feet and then carry it in your thoughts. Surrender it. Fully. Trusting that He's strong enough to carry what you can't. You might not feel the peace instantly. That's okay. Peace is not always a feeling. Sometimes it's a knowing, a deep assurance that you're no longer alone in the fight. And when you lay down your burden tonight, even if the weight still lingers emotionally, know this: it's already been lifted spiritually. God is holding it now. So before you fall asleep tonight, whisper these words: God, I'm laying this at your feet. I trust you with the things I can't fix. I surrender the weight, the worry, the wounds. I believe you can carry what I no longer can. And I rest in that truth tonight. You don't have to be strong right now. You just have to be still. Let your pillow be a sacred altar. Let your breath become your prayer. Let your surrender invite the healing. You've carried enough. Now it's God's turn. Coming up next, part 2. You are not weak for feeling tired. You are human.
Part 2. You are not weak for feeling tired. You are human. You're tired, and not just in your body. You're tired in your bones, in your soul. Tired of pretending. Tired of performing. Tired of holding everything and everyone together while trying not to fall apart yourself. But listen to me closely. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Somewhere along the way, you were taught that being exhausted emotionally means you're not strong enough. That real faith means you should always feel joyful. That if you trusted God more, you wouldn't feel this way. That strength looks like always smiling, always functioning, always moving forward without breaking. But that's not biblical. That's not true. Even Jesus wept. Even Jesus pulled away from crowds. Even Jesus needed moments alone with the Father to restore his soul. So if you're tired tonight, you're not broken. You're simply in need of rest. Real rest. Not just sleep, but soul-deep restoration. Maybe you've been running on empty for a while. Maybe people depend on you. Maybe you're the one others lean on, and you don't feel like you have permission to fall apart. But here's the truth. You don't need permission from people to rest. You already have it from God.
He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. God doesn't restore machines. He restores souls. And souls need rest. Right now, in this moment, give yourself grace. You don't need to explain your tiredness. You don't need to justify your heaviness. You don't need to apologize for being human. You are not a machine. You are not a robot designed to function endlessly. You are a soul with limits. And those limits are not flaws. They're reminders that you were made to rely on something greater than yourself. Take a deep breath and tell yourself this: I am not a failure for needing rest. I am not weak for feeling tired. I am still valuable. I am still loved. I am still enough. God is not disappointed in your exhaustion. He's not frustrated that you're struggling to pray. He's not angry that you feel weary. He's not expecting you to perform tonight. He's inviting you to simply be. To be tired. To be real. To be human. And to let Him be God. You weren't created to carry everything. You were created to come to the one who can. So stop trying to prove your worth by pushing through your pain. Let this be your reminder that you're allowed to rest. Rest isn't laziness. Rest isn't weakness. Rest is worship. It says, I trust you enough to stop striving. Tonight, as you lie in bed, don't judge yourself for feeling depleted. Thank God that you are still here, still breathing, still hoping, still showing up. That is not weakness. That is quiet, resilient courage. So let this prayer carry you into sleep. Father, I'm tired, not just in my body, but in my soul. Help me to see that this weariness isn't shameful. Teach me to embrace my humanity. Remind me that needing you doesn't make me weak. It makes me yours. You are not weak. You are not failing. You are human, and you are held. Coming up next, Part 3. When tears speak louder than words.
Part 3. When tears speak louder than words. Some nights, the tears come before the prayers. You try to speak, but your voice catches. You try to explain what you're feeling, but no words feel right. So you just cry, quietly, helplessly, and hope that God still hears. Let me assure you tonight, He does. God hears your tears just as clearly as He hears your words. In fact, sometimes tears speak even louder. The world may not notice your tears. It moves fast. It praises strength and ignores sadness. It teaches you to bottle it up, to stay positive, to push through. But not God. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. Psalm 56:8. That means your tears matter to Him. They are not wasted. They are not ignored. They are not signs of weakness. They are sacred expressions of pain that words cannot reach. Maybe tonight you feel ashamed for crying. Maybe someone once told you that strong people don't cry. But Jesus cried. He wept at the grave of a friend. He wept over a broken city. He wept in the garden when the weight of the cross crushed His soul. And yet, He was never more divine. Your tears are not a contradiction to your faith. They are a part of it. Some wounds are too deep for language. Some griefs too heavy for grammar. Some heartbreaks too raw for structured prayers. And that's okay. God understands sighs. He interprets silence.
He translates tears. Even when you say nothing, your soul still speaks, and God listens. So tonight, if your only prayer is a cry, that's enough. If your only offering is a tear-streaked pillow, He receives it with tenderness. If you can't even find the energy to whisper His name, know this: He's already with you. Let your tears fall without shame. You don't have to be composed before God. You don't have to hold it together in His presence. You can unravel safely in His hands. You can cry and still be held. You can break down and still be beloved. You can weep and still be wrapped in grace. Tonight, make space for your tears. Let them cleanse. Let them release. Let them remind you that you are alive, that you still feel, and that you are still worth comforting. Then, whisper this prayer as gently as you can. Lord, I don't have the words tonight. All I have are tears. But I trust that you understand them. I trust that you see beyond the silence. I trust that even in my weeping, you are near. Tears may fall, but they will not drown you. They may blur your vision, but they will never blur His love. He sees you. He holds you, even when all you can do is cry. Coming up next is part 4. God knows what you don't say out loud.
Part 4. God knows what you don't say out loud. There are things you've never said aloud, wounds you've hidden beneath your smile, questions you're afraid to ask, doubts you silence because you don't want to seem unfaithful, pain you've pushed so deep that even you forget it's still there. But God hasn't forgotten. He sees what you're scared to speak. He knows what you won't admit to anyone, not even yourself. And the most beautiful part? He loves you anyway. There's a special kind of exhaustion that comes from pretending to be fine, pretending to be unbothered, pretending to have moved on, pretending you're not falling apart inside. It's the exhaustion of carrying secrets in your soul, the kind that never leaves no matter how much you smile on the outside. But tonight, in this quiet space, you don't have to pretend anymore, because God already knows. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. Psalm 139, verse 4. You don't have to explain everything. You don't have to defend your silence. You don't have to rehearse the pain just to make it valid. He knows the story, the full one, not just the part you tell your friends, but the raw, unfinished, messy middle that still hurts. And He doesn't flinch. He doesn't back away. He leans in. What would it feel like to be fully known and still fully loved, not tolerated, not pitied, not advised or corrected or judged, just known and still wanted? That's how God loves you. He doesn't just want your filtered prayers. He wants the truth you bury, the thoughts you're ashamed of, the anger you suppress, the insecurities you cover with fake confidence. He wants the whole you, even the hidden parts. Maybe you're scared that if you're honest with God, He'll be disappointed. But He's not surprised. You're not too much for Him. Your honesty won't scare Him away. In fact, it draws Him closer. God works best in truth, because it's in truth that healing begins. So tonight, if there's something you've been hiding, a fear, a failure, a secret, a regret, you don't have to carry it alone anymore. You can bring it into the light, not for shame, but for freedom. And if you don't know what to say, start here. God, you know everything I've tried to hide, the things I'm afraid to say out loud, the pain I've locked inside for too long. I don't have the courage to speak it all, but you already see it. And somehow,
You still love me. Let that truth be your comfort tonight. God knows, and He stays. He knows, and He doesn't withdraw. He knows, and He chooses you anyway. You are not invisible to Him. Not even your silence is silent to God. He reads your heart like a book, and still, He writes love into every page. Coming up next, Part 5, Peace over Panic, Resting in His Promises.
Part 5, Peace over Panic, Resting in His Promises. Anxious thoughts have a way of multiplying at night. The moment the world quiets down, your mind starts to speak louder. What if it all falls apart? What if I made the wrong choice? What if I never feel okay again? The panic creeps in, the breathing shortens, the chest tightens, and suddenly your bed, the place where rest should live, feels like a battlefield. But here's the truth. You are not at war with rest. You are just forgetting who holds the night. Peace is not the absence of chaos. Peace is the presence of God in the chaos. Right now, in this very moment, you are held by the one who never sleeps. While your thoughts race, His promises remain still. While your fears rise, His truth stays unshaken. You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. Perfect peace doesn't mean perfect circumstances. It means a perfect anchor even in the middle of the storm. What if tonight, instead of trying to fight the panic, you replaced it with His promises? When your heart says, "I'm not enough," let His word say, "My grace is sufficient." When your mind says, "It's all falling apart," let His voice whisper, "I am working all things together for good." When your soul cries, "I can't do this," let heaven declare, "You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you." The promises of God are not wishful thinking. They are anchors in emotional storms. You don't have to earn this peace. You don't have to force it. You just have to receive it, like a warm blanket being gently laid over your shoulders. Peace is a gift, and it has a name, Jesus. Maybe you're saying, "But I don't feel peace." That's okay. Faith is not based on feelings. It's based on truth. You don't need to feel peaceful to be surrounded by peace. You don't need to understand everything to trust the one who does. So tonight, you have a choice. Let panic win or rest in His promises. Not because you see the solution, but because you know the Savior. Here's a prayer for you tonight. Father, my heart is anxious. My thoughts are loud. My fear is real. But your word is louder. Your promises are stronger. Your peace is possible. I choose to rest in what you said, not in what I feel. Cover me with calm. Silence the storm in my mind, and let me sleep in peace. You are not alone in this. You are not at the mercy of your emotions. You are not a prisoner to fear. You are a child of the God of peace, and He is singing over you tonight. So exhale slowly. Let your muscles unclench. Let your soul stop striving. The world will still spin without your worry. Sleep, not because everything is fixed, but because He is faithful. Coming up next, Part 6, The night is not the end, it's the healing. The night is not the end. It's the healing. When the night comes, it often feels like the end. The end of trying. The end of holding it together. The end of your emotional strength. Everything feels heavier when the world gets quiet, when there are no more distractions left to keep your mind busy. But the truth is, night is not the end. It's the beginning of healing. In the Bible, when God created the world, He didn't say, "There was morning and then evening." He said, "There was evening and there was morning." the first day. Genesis 1:5. Evening came first. The day doesn't start with light. It starts in the dark, in the quiet, in the stillness, in the place where nothing looks finished, but something new is being formed. That means healing begins at night. Before you even see the breakthrough, before the sun rises, God is already at work. He heals wounds while you sleep. He restores your strength while you lie still. He rewrites your perspective while your eyes are closed. Night is not proof of God's absence. It is a canvas for His quietest miracles. So many of us associate darkness with endings, with hopelessness, with failure or fear, but God does His best work in the dark. Seeds grow in the dark. Babies are formed in the womb, in the dark. Jesus rose from the grave while it was still dark. So tonight, don't fear the darkness. Don't let it trick you into thinking this is the end. It's not over. It's just beginning. The pain may still be there. The questions may still be unanswered. But that doesn't mean healing hasn't started. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean God isn't moving. Rest is not a pause from growth, it's a part of it. When you sleep tonight, you're not giving up. You're surrendering to the process. You're trusting that healing doesn't always feel like fire. Sometimes it feels like stillness. Let this be your comfort. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. Micah 7:8. Even when everything around you feels dim, there is still a light inside of you, a promise that this night has purpose. So tonight, if your heart is broken, if your mind is tired, if you feel like nothing is changing, remember, you are in the part of the story that is being rewritten. The chapter is not over. The author is still writing. And in the morning, you will rise. Whisper this prayer with your final ounce of strength. God, this night feels heavy. It feels endless, but I believe it's not the end. I believe you do holy work in hidden places. Heal me while I rest. Restore me in the quiet. And remind me that even in darkness, you are near. Let the night do its work. Let the silence settle your soul. Let the darkness become a sanctuary, not of fear, but of restoration. Coming up next, Part 7, Letting Go of Guilt and Letting God In.
Part 7, Letting Go of Guilt and Letting God In. Guilt is a quiet weight. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just lingers, like fog you can't clear, like a whisper that says, "You should have done more. You shouldn't have said that. You failed again." And at night, when the world is quiet and you're alone with your thoughts, guilt loves to speak the loudest. But tonight, let's silence that voice, not with denial, but with grace. Guilt has a place, but it was never meant to be your prison. Healthy guilt is conviction, a gentle nudge that leads to change. Toxic guilt is condemnation, a heavy chain that keeps you stuck. God does not traffic in condemnation. There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. That means, if you've confessed it, God has cleared it. If you've brought it to Him, He's already buried it in mercy. So Why do we keep carrying what heaven has already forgiven? Why do we keep rehearsing our regrets, punishing ourselves for mistakes God no longer remembers? Maybe it's because we believe the lie that we have to feel forgiven to be forgiven. But forgiveness isn't a feeling, it's a fact. A decision made by God, not based on your performance, but on His promise. You are not your worst day. You are not your last failure. You are not defined by your regrets. You are defined by redemption. God is not waiting for you to earn His love again. He's simply asking you to let Him in, to open the locked doors where you've stored your shame, to invite Him into the rooms you keep hidden from others and even from yourself. Because here's the truth: God can't heal what you won't hand over. What if tonight is the night you finally let go? Let go of the guilt. Let go of the self-blame. Let go of the what-ifs and if-onlys. What if tonight is not about fixing yourself, but about receiving forgiveness? Here's a prayer to help you begin. God, I'm tired of carrying guilt. I've punished myself for long enough. I've apologized 1,000 times in my mind, but tonight I choose to believe you. I choose to let go of what you already forgave. Wash me in your mercy. Remind me that your grace is bigger than my shame. And help me sleep free. You don't need to clean yourself up before inviting God in. He already sees the mess, and He still wants you. He's not knocking at the door of your perfection. He's knocking at the door of your pain. And He's not bringing judgment. He's bringing healing. Let guilt go. Let grace in. Let your past stay in the past. Let your heart finally rest in the truth. You are forgiven. You are free. You are His. Coming up next, Part 8. You don't have to fix everything before you sleep.
Part 8. You don't have to fix everything before you sleep. You lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The to-do list is still unfinished. The conversation from earlier still echoes in your head. The decisions you haven't made, the people you think you've disappointed, the things you should have done differently, they all come rushing in at once. It's exhausting. There's a part of you that believes sleep must be earned, that rest is only allowed after everything is fixed, resolved, and under control. But that belief is a lie. You don't have to fix everything before you sleep. You just have to trust the one who never sleeps. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, He who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. Psalm 121, 3-4. God is still working when you're not. He's still moving when you're still. He's still sustaining the world and you, even when you close your eyes. You weren't created to carry the pressure of perfection. Not every problem needs to be solved before sunrise. Not every emotion needs to be sorted before midnight. Not every wound needs to be healed in one night. Rest is not the result of everything being fixed. Rest is the decision to release control to the only one who can fix it all. So tonight, let this truth settle in your soul. Your job is obedience, not omnipotence. You are not God. You are not the Savior. You are not the center of the universe. And that is incredibly freeing. Because if God is still on the throne, then you can finally lay down. Let go of the mental list. Let go of the worry.
Let go of the need to control what's outside your reach. Let go of the conversation you wish had gone differently. Let go of the fear about tomorrow. Let go of the self-imposed deadlines for healing, fixing, and performing. You don't need to be in control to be at peace. You just need to be held by the one who is. Here's a gentle prayer for your tired heart. God, I didn't finish everything today. I didn't fix every mistake. I didn't handle everything perfectly. But you're not asking for perfection. You're asking for trust. So tonight, I hand over the things I can't fix. I give you the worries I can't carry. And I rest not because it's all done, but because you are enough. You are allowed to sleep with unfinished things. You are allowed to rest with unresolved emotions. You are allowed to let the day end, even if it wasn't perfect. God doesn't require perfection before He offers peace. He offers peace because He knows you need it, especially when everything still feels messy. So exhale, close your eyes, and remember, you don't have to fix everything. You just have to let God in. He'll handle the night shift. You can finally sleep. Coming up next, Part 9. He sees you even when you want to disappear.
Part 9. He sees you, even when you want to disappear. Some nights, you don't want to be found. You don't want to be strong. You don't want to explain. You don't even want to be seen. You just want to disappear. From expectations, from people, from pain. And yet, somehow, in the most hidden places of your soul, you quietly wonder, does anyone notice I'm not okay? Here's the truth you need tonight. God sees you, especially when you want to disappear. Not just the version of you that shows up for others, not the mask you wear in public, not the performance you give to keep the peace. He sees the you that hides, the you that cries when no one's around, the you that's exhausted from pretending, the you that's quietly screaming, I can't keep doing this. And He doesn't look away. He doesn't judge. He doesn't wait for you to fix yourself before drawing near. You are the God who sees me. These were the words of a woman named Hagar. Cast out, abandoned, pregnant, alone in the wilderness, invisible to everyone, but not to God. You may feel like you're vanishing beneath the weight of everything. You may feel unseen, unheard, misunderstood. But you are not invisible to the one who made you. You are known. You are watched over. You are deeply, fully, eternally seen. And not just seen in your success, seen in your suffering, seen in your shame, seen in your silence. He sees you when your smile is a mask. He sees you when you withdraw because it's easier than explaining. He sees you when the crowd moves on and you're left in the shadows. And He comes into the shadows. He doesn't wait for you to step into the light. He enters the darkness and says, you don't have to hide from me. Tonight, you don't need to prove anything. You don't need to be productive. You don't need to perform strength you don't feel. You can simply be just as you are, broken, wounded,
exhausted, longing for comfort. And God will meet you there. Here's a prayer for the parts of you that feel invisible. God, I want to disappear tonight. I don't have the strength to show up. I don't feel seen, and I'm not sure anyone would notice if I faded away. But you see me. You know me. You come find me when I don't even know how to cry out. Remind me tonight that I matter, not because of what I do, but because I belong to you. Even if no one texts you, even if no one asks how you are, even if no one knocks on your door, God is near, closer than breath, gentler than words, more present than any person ever could be. So stay here in His presence. You don't have to be seen by the world to be held by God. Let Him wrap His arms around the invisible parts of your pain. Let Him whisper to your soul, you are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are mine. Coming up next, Part 10, Sleep in Grace. Tomorrow is in His hands.
Part 10, Sleep in Grace. Tomorrow is in His hands. You've made it to the end of the day. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't painless. It may have been messy, heavy, and emotionally draining. But you're still here, still breathing, still reaching for hope. And that, dear soul, is enough. Now it's time to let the day go. Not because everything is resolved, but because God is still in control, and tomorrow is in His hands. You were not created to carry endless tomorrows. You were created to live one day at a time, and to rest in the presence of a God who never stops watching over you. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Matthew 6:34. That's not just advice, it's permission. Permission to stop overthinking. Permission to rest without resolution. Permission to sleep in grace. You don't need to have tomorrow figured out. You don't need to have the plan mapped out. You don't even need to feel ready for what's next. Because the one who holds the stars in place, the one who paints the sky with sunrise every morning, is the same one who's holding your life. Right now, He is closer than your fear, stronger than your anxiety, more faithful than your worry. And while you sleep, He works. While you dream, He prepares. While your eyes close, His never do. So tonight, stop rehearsing your regrets. Stop forecasting future failures. Stop making mental checklists of everything that might go wrong. And instead, let go. Fall backward into the arms of grace. Let your soul remember how to breathe again. Here's a prayer for your final moment before sleep. God, I've done all I could today. Maybe it wasn't perfect. Maybe it wasn't enough in my eyes. But I place it in your hands. I surrender the weight of tomorrow. I choose grace over guilt. I choose peace over panic. I choose trust over control. And now I sleep, not in fear, but in the arms of the one who never sleeps. Your bed is now a sanctuary, your breath a prayer, your rest an act of holy trust. You are safe, you are seen, you are loved. You are His. Sleep in grace tonight. Tomorrow is already taken care of.
You made it here, and that's enough. If you're still here, if you're still listening, If your heart is still open even a little, that's a miracle in itself. You've made it through another day. You've carried pain and questions and weariness, and still, you showed up, not to perform, not to impress, but simply to be. That's more than enough. Tonight, you've laid down the weight. You've let the tears fall. You've invited God into places that have long been locked. And even if nothing looks different on the outside, something inside you has shifted. Because you've been reminded of this truth. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not too broken to be loved. You are seen. You are held. You are safe. No matter how the day began, it ends here, in peace. Not because the world is perfect, but because your soul has found refuge. This night is not a void. It's a holy space, a place of rest, a place of healing, a place where God meets you gently, silently, faithfully. So let your final thoughts tonight be soft. Let your final breath before sleep be slow. Let your heart settle in the arms of grace. You don't need to rush healing. You don't need to fear tomorrow. You don't need to carry the past into the night. You only need this moment, this breath, this peace. And if you forget everything else, remember this. You are loved deeply, eternally, and nothing, not even your weariness, can separate you from that love. Sleep now, beloved soul. Let the silence of night be sacred. Let grace sing over you as you drift into rest. Let the healing continue, quietly, gently, faithfully, until morning comes. You are not alone. God is with you, always. Good night, sleep in peace. You are loved beyond measure.